Hey everyone, we're back with the second episode of my mixed martial arts podcast. Glad to be back. This episode is going to be actually a little different. We're going to be reviewing UFC 219 since there isn't too many fight cards coming up anytime soon. I think there's one early January and then the January 20th card, which I'm super excited for, but that's still a ways away. So we're going to be reviewing probably UFC 219 and actually doing current events this time. I didn't do current events in the first episode, mainly because when I recorded that, it was 1 a.m., and I really just didn't want to stay up any longer to do current events. But that is finally going to be in this episode, and I'm just excited to get the second episode out to you guys. So, let's get into the UFC 219 fight card. Was not the best fight card to ever happen, especially this year. This year had some insane fight cards, and this simply, one second, guys. This simply just wasn't one of them for me. I mean, I do want to break it down still, but really the only two fights I do want to break down are Cris Cyborg and Holly Holm and Nurmagomedov versus Barboza, because those fights, of course, delivered the most. I still really enjoyed those fights, even though they both were 5 rounds. They were some insane fights, and I really enjoyed them. Besides that, from what I saw of the prelims and everything on the main card, basically nothing was ended besides Dan Hooker versus Mark Yaquis. He won with a submission in the third round. So basically, late in the third round. So basically, everything went full time. And I live on the East Coast, so that wasn't done until like 2 a.m. Was at a friend's house. Still had to drive home. 2 degrees Celsius out. It was awful. You know, it just wasn't the best night, but it was still. I really enjoyed it. I'm sure my friends didn't as much because they don't watch anywhere near as much MMA, but was not the best fight. But let's get into the two fights that were the best of the night and the most anticipated by most people. My most anticipated, personally, could be Nurmagomedov versus Edson Barboza. This was such a good fight and such a scary fight for everyone in Khabib's division, because he just showed that what he did to Edson Barboza, one of the best strikers in that division, he showed that he could do that for 3 rounds and probably do it for 10 more and then go wrestle his bear. I mean, at the end of the fight, he called out Conor and Tony. He said he'd fight them both in one night. So, 155 division, a lot more interesting now that we see Khabib has made the way he is. He can make it again now that he got the new nutritionist and everything went good for him, actually. I am super excited to see what this dude is going to do. And Edson Barboza is a maniac. He took all of that damage, and I was amazed to see his heart that he was just going through that, because Khabib was just oh my God, it was disgusting when you couldn't breathe. He was on you like a sack of bricks, landing shots every single possible moment he could. It was an amazing display of skill by Khabib, and he landed 154 strikes, 89 significant strikes. That is crazy, and he's not afraid to attempt takedowns on you, because he doesn't need many. He just needs the one. He threw 13 takedowns, landed 4, and it still was 10-8 round after 10-8 round after 10-8 round. Mind you, the rules were not in effect for easier 10-8 rounds, so that was with the more restricted 10-8 round judging. Still got a 10-8 round. I think every round. It was a domination by Khabib and a huge statement. And I cannot wait to see him fight Tony, because not onto the current events, but one of the current events being about Conor, we'll get into that later, really makes me eye the Khabib-Tony fight, and that's going to be super interesting. I can't wait to see that, because Tony is no joke on the ground. He's super good on the ground. I want to see if he can stand up versus Khabib, because not many people have. And I'm scared what happens. I'm scared to see what happens, especially with Khabib saying he has 3 more people from Dagestani with the same wrestling credentials of him. And if they get unleashed from the UFC too, spooky time. spooky time, that's for sure. And we have the main event of the evening. This was also a pretty interesting fight in my mind because I did not expect Holly Holm to go out there and do what she did because she wasn't afraid at all. And Chael Sonnen called it. Holly Holm was not going to be defeated in the locker room. She threw 232 strikes that fight and actually had control time. She had 3 minutes 25 seconds of control time. That out of all the rounds, 3 minutes 25 seconds of control time. That is really good considering Cris Cyborg had 43. Like, Holly Holm was not messing around. She was walking forward, pushing the pace. But it also goes to show how deadly Cris Cyborg was because out of the 232 punches Holly Holm threw, she landed 48. Out of the 237 that Cris Cyborg threw, landed 131, and they were like sniper blasting missiles. It was insane. Her accuracy was dead on, and she was picking Holly apart in the pocket. She was so fast, and she would just get in, exchange, get out. You throw one punch, Holly. Okay, here's 3 or 4. Goodbye. It was basically that for the whole fight. And I saw something about her, Holly Holm, being 1 round away from potentially beating Cris Cyborg. I don't think that was true at all. I don't know if it was true. I just remember seeing it, I think, on Twitter. And I like, that to me was ridiculous because Cris Cyborg was just like very strategically, accurately just picking Holly Holm apart. And it was, once again, a very scary display of what Cris Cyborg can do in this division that doesn't seem to have too many top contenders besides Megan Anderson, which may be the next fight for Cris Cyborg. But on that note, let's actually get into the current events, because one of these current events is that Cyborg was told, well, no, she wasn't told, Dana said that what was next for Cyborg was probably Amanda Nunes. I want to see that fight so bad. That fight would be so fun to watch. Amanda Nunes, of course, is going to be a lot smaller, but she still walks around pretty heavy. From what I heard, she walks around at 165 pounds. That, I mean, she still would be cutting weight to get to Cris Cyborg's weight. So that would be such an insanely fun fight to see. But then a little later today, came out that Cyborg's kind of doing the whole thing again with she doesn't want to fight Amanda Nunes, prefers a UFC newcomer instead, which, I mean, I really, really, really want to see the Amanda Nunes-Cris Cyborg fight. But then again, you know, it would be Amanda Nunes moving up a division and challenging for the belt, which just happened to Cris Cyborg, and she didn't like that in the first place either with the Holly Holm thing, and she beat her. So at the end of the day, I feel like this kind of is Cyborg's choice, because she's defended the belt now, and she can kind of state who she wants to fight next. It's sort of the champions thing. So I mean, I really want to see her fight Amanda Nunes. It'd be super interesting to me, but I don't know. Cyborg does have a habit of saying she doesn't want to do things and then doing them, because the Holly Holm fight was called on and off quite a few times. It was a lot of drama before we got to the finalization of that fight, and it turned out pretty good. It turned out an immaculate show of skill for Cris Cyborg and a great show of heart from Holly Holm, and not just great mental fortitude. Period. And then another article that I've been seeing going around. This one's just kind of annoying because it kind of shows that people just don't like clicking on stuff. They just like commenting and sharing it, and not reading into it. It's this article that's the headline is head of USADA says it doesn't look like Jon Jones intentionally used a banned substance. That is what he said. But here's the thing: if you watch even 2 to 3 minutes of the clip that was posted in this video, you will see him say, Jeff Nowitzki, the Golden Snitch, not even though he doesn't like being called that, the Golden Snitch has no say in whether these people get unbanned. Yes, he can look at the data. Yes, he can say that it doesn't look like it was a purposeful indigestion, but that doesn't matter. There are multiple things that go into this. First off, it's a commission that has to say that there are negligible effects that Jon Jones negligible effects that are so large that Jon Jones' suspension can be reduced or completely negated. But some things have to happen for that to go down, and that would be Jon Jones has to prove that it was accidental ingestion. Yes, you can look at the data and say he probably did this on accident, but Jon Jones has to prove it. Once he does that, then you can go into serious talk. But from all the other rumors that have come out about what Jon Jones may have been doing, doesn't really seem like he's going to be in the position to prove it. Trust me, I want to see Jon Jones fight so bad. But this 4 years is looking awfully real and awfully scary, because it's a shame. I want to see Jon Jones dominate the light heavyweight division in his prime. And I mean, he's already basically done it, but I want to see him go against. There's still so many more matchups I want to see with Jon Jones, man. It's a shame that this could put such a stint in his career, but who knows? I mean, bigger guys normally have much longer, not much longer, but have longer shelf lives at least. So who knows? He may still be a beast at what would he be, 35? I don't. Right? Let's give that a Google. Yeah, 30. He's 30 right now, so about 35. Yeah, that's about right. So who knows? Who knows? I really want to see him back in the UFC, but that 4 years is looking. It's looking like it's there. It's looking like it's there, and looking like it's going to be there to stay. So moving on to the next topic. This is back to the McGregor thing I was telling you guys about. Dana White did finally announce that if McGregor doesn't if McGregor doesn't fight before March, he will be vacated, which I want to see, because I'm a big McGregor fan, but he needs to defend the belt. He's already vacated one belt, and if he doesn't defend this one, I mean, he's still, of course, #1 contender. He's still definitely, like, if he goes back, he's for sure getting a title shot. But, like, man, I just want to see him defend the belt, because, like, I want to see him versus Tony, especially before March. Now, I don't know if that's likely to happen, that he'd fight before March. I think if he's fighting anything, it's probably going to be in the second half of the year. I don't think he's going to be fighting this early, just because he's probably still, the $100 million. It's $100 million. He's still doing baller things. Even though he's, his family's in the hospital with Australian flu because he went a little too ham, he's still going. He's Conor McGregor. But if he doesn't fight before March, he's going to get his belt taken from him, which I understand. That does need to happen, because I want either the title to be not relinquished, but confirmed. Basically, I honestly don't know why this word just slipped me, but basically I want to see Tony fight Conor. I want to see that fight so bad, and if that's not going to happen, I want Tony to be the champion and then fight Khabib for the actual belt. That's what I want to happen, because if Conor's not going to fight, I don't think he's the actual champion anymore, just because he's been out of the game too long. People have been evolving, they've been working, they've been going at it. Conor took all this time off for boxing, while Tony's, just working the jiu-jitsu, working the ground game, working the striking, everything mixed martial arts oriented. He was pushing 110% towards, while Conor, of course he was probably still working on MMA, but he was putting a lot of time towards boxing. And I want to see what that block of time did for the rest of the mixed martial arts division, the 155-pound division. Like, I want to see the evolution that went on since Conor's left, especially with how hungry those people are. Like, they want blood and they want Conor. If you beat Conor, that's a guaranteed numbers boost. And I really want to see that division get sorted out, because it's definitely by far one of the best divisions, in my opinion. Next topic, pretty rough one, but can't say I didn't see it coming. Robbie Lawler suffered a torn ACL and meniscus, and the decision lost to Rafael dos Anjos. And I mean, that fight was so crazy. The beating that Robbie Lawler was able to take, and he just sustained it. Like, imagine having a torn ACL back up against the cage, have a world-class striker looking you in the eyes, and then just smile. Just let it happen. Roll with the punches. Your legs so fucked up, you're probably like high off of the pain at that point. You're just in a different place, and he just goes with it, because Robbie Lawler is an absolute fucking beast. And it's sad, because he just got that win right after losing to Tyron Woodley. Things were looking on the up and up, and then he met Rafael dos Anjos, but That injury is just so rough, and it's going to put him out for a long, long time. And I'm kind of scared for that because Robbie Lawler's he's getting up there. He's getting up there in age. Not too bad right now, definitely, but his leg is definitely messed up, and he's been having problems with it for a while. And now the fact that he blew his ACL meniscus, and from what this has, and every other thing in your knee that can be blown out. So it's rough. And the fact that he was still walking on it in the 4th round to get to the cage to roll with those punches, and then survives to the 5th round, fights on it on the 5th round to a decision. Beastly human. I'm hats off to Robbie Lawler, and even more hats off to Rafael dos Anjos, because that was an amazing performance by him. But honestly, I think this may be a short one just because the card wasn't too crazy. I think that's it for today, guys, because I didn't have too many topics. There's not been too crazy much going on, just, a whole bunch of news of what-ifs and maybes. But hopefully this whole Conor stuff starts to, be unlaid. Fight starts to get scheduled for the 155 division. UFC just starts banging again. I mean, it already is. It already is. Besides this last card, these past cards have been absolutely insane. I can't wait to see what the January 20th card is going to be like. That is going to be amazing. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, share it with anybody that you know that enjoys MMA. Tell me anything you'd like to see in the podcast. Anyways, guys, peace out.